Now for the piling on for Biden, the American people weighing in with their voice in those poll numbers. Politico's out with this headline: the president's decline is alarming. Biden trapped in coronavirus malaise. Sarah Longwell, a moderate Republican strategist who became a Biden supporter, told Politico Biden and Democrats in Washington are in a morass of fighting with each other over bills that nobody knows what's in. It just looks like a cluster. And Democrat Terry McAuliffe, who's locked in a very tight fight for governor in Virginia, has gone after the president twice in 2 days.
We've got frustration with Washington. You know, why haven't we passed this infrastructure bill? It passed the U.S. Senate with 69 votes 2 months ago. I have been very straight on television. We're tired of the chitty chat up in Washington. Get in a room and get this figured out.
Chitty chat. Well, it's not just Terry McAuliffe. Democratic Congresswoman Susan Wiles said this: I'm a little bit disappointed. I haven't seen much in the way of results. Florida Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy says the current situation doesn't reflect the skills I know Biden must have from his years as a legislator. Jason Chaffetz, Fox News contributor, former Utah congressman. Jason, this is more than just about whether or not it's fodder for political ads for Republicans coming up in 2022. Americans are watching this and saying nothing is working. This is serious.
Well, they're 9 months in and they have nothing to point to. And I would argue that the policy positions of Biden and Harris are losers. Nobody wants the policy positions of Joe Biden pinned to their donkey. They just don't. You don't see their cabinet out there vehemently arguing for these policies. As Martha McCallum pointed out, where's Pete Buttigieg with all the containers and shipping problems that we have and the trucking problems we have in the fulfillment industry? He's nowhere. So, and in Virginia specifically, Terry McAuliffe, who's a very seasoned political operative, running for governor again, has said Biden-Harris bring headwinds. And in the final 3 weeks of his campaign, you have Barack Obama going there, but you don't have Joe Biden going there. You don't have Kamala Harris going there. That is very telling.
Jason, you brought it up, and we've got it in pictures. Let's take a look at the scheduled campaign stop for Democrat Terry McAuliffe with some of the party's big guns in. You mentioned a couple. That tight race for Virginia's governor's seat will see Jill Biden, the First Lady, Stacey Abrams, former President Obama, Speaker Nancy Pelosi, but so far not on the list, President Biden. Now, is failing contagious?
Yes. The problem with Joe Biden is he has failing policies. He's yet to fulfill the promise of being able to unite the country. And he's a weak communicator. You just know that if he goes out there and starts speaking, there's going to be some political gaffe. And also not on that list is Kamala Harris. Normally, it's the vice president that can go in and rally people and attract people. But she's a horrible communicator. Nobody wants to come out and see her. She's one of the worst vice presidents that we've had. And so her policy initiatives, the things that she's supposed to be in charge of, the American people know, even in Virginia, that they're going backwards. She's in charge of the border. Nobody believes that the border's going well.
No, and it's affecting every state. I mean, Virginia's got to be feeling it, too. Every place is feeling it because the drugs don't know anything other than let's go north on the backs of drug dealers and cartel members. I mean, how do you think they land in those places? Those people are making their way into our country. They're the gotaways, as the Border Patrol likes to call them. And why wouldn't they go to those states? I want to get to this. When a protest falls flat, let's take a look at what it looks like. Far-left activists flew all the way to Boston to confront Senator Kyrsten Sinema over her opposition to President Biden's massive spending agenda. They were going to show her who's boss, so to speak. Their signs were ready. See them? There was just one problem. The senator did not run the marathon. Her office says she has a lingering foot injury. Senator Sinema has been the target of liberal harassers so many times in just the last few days. And remember the video of them following her into the ladies' room in a completely secure and locked-off area that they got into. Jason.
The Kyrsten Sinema, I know, is a maverick. It's not because she seeks to just do something differently. It's because she really she does embrace the idea, and it's embedded a lot in Arizona. Look, she's following in the footsteps of John McCain. The idea that she's going to think for herself, make her own decisions. To try to harass her on an airplane or in a bathroom, those types of things are not, they can have the total opposite effect on the Kyrsten Sinema that I know. She doesn't relish that, but it's not going to intimidate her. There's no possible way. Anybody that knows her knows that's true.
Well, you know, it's interesting. You know politics in that part of the country so well, from Utah to Arizona. And when you look back at Sinema's voting record, yes, she has done some progressive type things. She's a Democrat. At the same time, when President Trump and his lead up, she agreed with him 60% of the time. I mean, her record in the past as a congresswoman before she was a senator would lead you to believe that she's going to stick to her guns, but we'll see. A group financed by liberal billionaire George Soros, well known for financing campaigns of lenient prosecutors and funding efforts to legalize marijuana, released an ad airing in West Virginia, pushing part of Biden's spending agenda. It doesn't mention Senator Manchin by name, but it really doesn't have to. Watch.
We need paid leave in the moments that break our hearts and in the moments that fill them with joy. We're counting on Congress to do what's right for moms, families, businesses, and our economy by passing the American Families Plan.
The American Families Plan, by the way, is part of the multi-trillion-dollar Build Back Better agenda that the president right now is seeing stalled in the weeds. When you hear George Soros is involved, trouble's coming because he comes with a lot of money. What does that mean for Biden?
Well, I think they're trying to couch the Green New Deal and these other things and put the prettiest face that they can on it. But if you dive deep into the policies, they're anti-liberty, they're anti-freedom, they're more government, more spending, more regulators. That does not resonate with the people of West Virginia. And I think they understand that how important the energy sector is to West Virginia. And I got to tell you, Joe Manchin has really stood up for that. And if you're going to enact the Green New Deal, that isn't going to help the people of West Virginia. And it's not going to help the people in Middle America and Wyoming and Utah and other places where there are energy-producing states, New Mexico,
so
for
does
instance.
this backfire?
That does not help there. I do think it's going to backfire. I think if you look, my guess is if you talk to the people of West Virginia, they're proud of the fact that their senator is actually not just caving. Now, maybe he will eventually cave. My fear is they always shoot so high. We're talking 3.5 trillion on top of 1 point whatever trillion on top of another trillion. And then they cut it in half and look like, oh, look how reasonable we were. And it's still trillions more than we've ever had. And so I fear that Joe Manchin will go that direction. But right now, I think you hope that he stands up for West Virginia. This is not a good policy.
It's just so interesting to see, you know, a billionaire jump in. It sounds like nobody understands what the voters want, except for those people who are in their constituency, right? So you have all this outside money. You got the president trying to throw on some tapestry and what he thinks, and yeah, they just want what's best for their state in West Virginia, as you pointed out. Jason, always great to have you in focus. Thank you.